All right, great. Good evening. Welcome to this Division C West Season 17 of NGS. Today we have Counterpick Stupid versus Cats on My Keyboard. Apologies. First stream of the season, as usual. Doing some last second figuring out of things, but hopefully everything should be fine. To update you, we did have CCS winning the coin toss and then deciding to go map pick. The maps that were banned out were Braxis Holdout and looks like we had someone drop. Which actually works out, because we can talk a little bit about Matt's selection. We did have TCS banning out, Braxis Holdout, and Alterac Pass. As well as, then for the side of Cats on My Keyboard, Sky Temple and Dragonshire. They obviously should just get rid of Braxis. No one likes Braxis. No one plays it. Just get rid of it, right? With map pick, though, CCS did decide to take Game 1 into Garden of Terror. Because meanwhile, we could quick look at the standings. I think they should be updated. And they're not showing up. I think I was having an issue with standings not always showing up for some reason. I guess I'll have to figure that out. But it looks like we had a disconnect. So we're just waiting for that to resolve itself. I did not want to go that. Yeah, there you go. It looks like everything, there was an issue with the drafting order. It looks like that was resolved. So now we get for real the Garden of Terror, Game 1. And obviously, Garden of Terror, I think it came back into the rotation, so it's good to see that it's in play. I myself used to be a big fan of the old Garden of Terror before it had its revision, but like any large map, heroes with wave clear, siege, have great value. So we'll see what the teams prioritize when it comes to the draft. We do have, since CCS picked map, we do have Cats on My Keyboard with first pick. And they're going to be also banning out Rhaegar. Rhaegar still being a rather meta healer. Lots of wave clear. And a TLV ban. That must be some scouting there, and it must be a TLV player. One of those, yeah, obviously TLV very strong on these very large maps where they can run around and soak and steal or do camps. Hair, appropriate since there are cats, yeah. We do see then a Johanna ban. Johanna being still a rather solid tank. Yep. And then Stukov. I'm a big fan of that. If you are not going to be able to pick Stukov, likely a hero you want to get rid of. Stukov is still very strong. Very frustrating champion or hero to play against when you can't press your buttons. Makes the game difficult to play. We do see cats on my keyboard. Going with the Vala for the first choice. Vala still, ever since the last, I guess, formal update of Heroes of the Storm, very solid. Lots of sustain, lots of kill potential. So we'll see what CCS decides to draft. We do have a Lunara and a Hogger. I was about to say that Hogger is actually very good on this particular map. A lot of camps to take, a lot of wave clear, and a lot of potential for team fight, and Hogger checks them all. We've seen overall, across I think all leagues, Hogger being prioritized quite a bit, so not surprising. With the next picks, we do have Deckard and Anub Ruck. So Cat's picking up their healer and tank. And Anub, rather pretty good choice into Lunara. Lunara, I always think of the Carbot animation where Lunara's just laughing and very much makes me upset thinking about it. And Noob able to deal with that magic damage a little bit better. We do then see a Samuru ban, another hero that has a lot of potential for wave clear, camp taking, etc. A very large map, has a lot of utility. So CCS is saying no to these heroes that have the potential to do a lot of soaking, to have a lot of mobility. CCS is saying we're not going to deal with that. And then we see a Garrosh being banned out. So with that, then we have the next couple picks on the side of CCS. Still needing a tank and potentially a healer and a flex. I can look into my crystal ball. I would imagine Valkymer wants to pick Arthas. Do it, Valkymer. No, maybe save it for the end. We have a Lucio and then a Sibo. Actually, something that I've noticed this season when it comes to picking a Zebo. The Zebo has seen a lot more play that I've noticed compared to previous seasons. So I just saw that message. And then with that, the offlaner, we have Dehaka and Li Ming being picked up. So now the question is, what's going to be the tank? And it's likely going to be Valkymer. Come on, do it, Valkymer. I want to see an Arthas. Do it for the Wrath of the Lich King. The WoW Classic expansion. It's pretty much over, but and we do have a Muradin. Not Arthas, but Muradin's still a very solid tank. Overall, pretty solid. both teams have potential for fighting. I would say the wave clear definitely a little bit on the side of DCS, especially as Nazebo scales. It'll be a lot more challenging for cats on my keyboard. So it's typically a race until 20. And with that, we'll move on to game 1, and I'll see you in a bit. With that, it has a little bit of delays. Who's the slow poke? It looks like one of the players was, but it looks like now we're finally in game.
Godly heroes.
So with that, we do have Valkymer on Murden, Dr. Evil on Nazebo, Zephy on Hogger, Whitson on Lucio, and Osprey on Lunara. On the side of cats on my keyboard.
The gates shall open in
IT Cowboy on Dehaka, Koala on Li Ming. Everybody's so stacked I can't read the names in the heroes.
1.
People can move around. There you go. Thank you.
Fight. Spread my
Then we have PJ Red on Anubarak, Apple on Deckard, and Ghost on Vala. And we have early on, not surprising, going for the little, as we call it, cheesing strat, getting some value with Nazebo with his zombie wall. Able to take more than half of that top tower. Them see cats on my keyboard rotate. And then we get our usual dance around and soak until 10. Although while we did have Zephy and Hogger on the bottom lane getting that soak. And looks like CCS definitely had a plan. Get some early value. Let's get our rotations going. We see Hogger going to go do Hogger things. While picking up their siege camp as well. The one thing about Guardian of Terror that I will say, always a point of discussion, you know, getting those camps out, getting as much value as possible. You see, for example here, 4 on the sides of CCS committing to the Bruiser camp to get that out as soon as possible. We do see that the first objective for channel will be on the bottom right. This area. So it looks like with that, likely CCS trying to save their top siege to get some more value of that.
Ah, heroes. You're just in time for the seeds of my vengeance to sprout.
We do have cats having to deal with that bottom bruiser. Li Ming, not the best at clearing that out, so it looks like, I imagine they're gonna get probably this entire wall. With that camp and a Nazebo, yeah, that's likely gone.
The first seed is sprouted.
Augur went over quickly to pick up that top siege camp. That also gets some value.
The first to harvest enough.
Something also to note is Lunara, with her vision, that wisp should be rather valuable. But given their positions, it First channel went rather uncontested to Cats. I would see something to say, you know, are you willing to trade an early channel of an objective to get some push? And IT Capital, oh, I was gonna say IT Capital goes down. First blood. I thought he had his dig already, but I guess not. I guess I missed that they already used it. Obviously not something that is ideal this early.
Best be ready to gather another seed, heroes.
We do see that now with that. Cats moving on to do their bruiser. Unfortunately for them, it's on the same side as the next. Ideally, you would want this obviously to be on the opposite side, so you could get the potential of a push or having to get their offlaner or someone to clear that. And sometimes that's just the luck of the draw. Can you get the ideal
Just you do it now.
positioning for the channel of objectives? We did have Whitson being chunked down quite a bit. The zombie wall coming out gets a few members, and even right now, Nazeebo is hurting quite a bit. And Hawker's not here just yet, and so IT Kaibo not able to land the tongue, gets stunned with a follow-up. Able to dig away, but then we have the Decker Kane root. And Murden goes down, but so does Vala and Dehaka. Decker Kane going down again. And Koala having to run. As well as a noob. Looks like both are going to be able. Obviously, if that was level 10 and they had Hortapult available, I imagine you'd go. I would. If I was Hogger in that position and I had Hortapult, I'm going in. But even with that, Cats was able to get some value with their bruiser. Able to get some towers down. And however, as we saw that early push now, along with some of the kills, now even at this point, 4-1, we have 10s online for CCS, and now they're able to invade. We do have Avatar, Hortapult, Leaping Strike, Gargantuan, and High Five. And I will say to Valkymer, when you rewatch this, you should have gone Playmaker. Always go Playmaker. We do have Lucio going down under the tower. Valkymer able to land a stun to kind of disengage. Vala trying to get some damage out, but won't be able to catch up to the rest of the team. I was about to say with Lucio, they're able to zoom out, but Lucio was gone already. But Osprey on the Lunara able to get quite a bit of value. We did see CCS working on their own siege camp with a potential invade. IT Cowboy just starting now. Gets stunned, able to dig. We do see Cocoon coming out. We do have 10s online. Lucio is rooted and does go down. We have Murden and Lucio, as well as Hogger. Great sequence of events for Cats, able to take advantage of the fact that they had their 10s available and up. All the while Lunara, though, was not there, but able to get some value. And the one thing about deaths is that, especially at this stage, you do come back. And a noob having to be a little bit careful, able to get away. We do see the top fort does go down. But I was saying, when you die, you come back. However, when your forts and your keeps die, they don't. So you can make the argument that being able to trade maybe even a couple deaths at this stage to get some structures is worth.
My. Yet another seed. I trust you know what.
As far as level 10s, wasn't able to read them out in the middle of a match. We did have Reign of Vengeance from Vala, Isolation, stay a while and listen. Disintegrate and Cocoon. No lore NATOs, unfortunately. As much as we like to see meme NATOs at level 20, we're not going to be seeing that. We do have a nice tongue on Lucio. Haka trying to follow up on the Hogger, uses isolation. However, with that, amongst all the level lead that CCS had and the fighting, Cats was able to secure their third objective. And now we'll have the Tears pushing and helping with that lanes that have been pushed into them. We do have Gazebo clearing out bottom for free. Cats focusing on mid lane. Looks like they're going to be able to get middle for sure and potentially top. Although Hogger again has really good wave clear. Having to use Hortipult. And then we see isolation coming out again. You're having your usual off-lane fight of I'm just gonna use my ult on you, but we did have them be able to rotate on Dehaka, and Dehaka goes down again. And he's able to save bottom for the at least the moment. Difficult to siege into a Nazebo with Gargantuan. All the while, CCS takes advantage of that distraction to get the top bruiser camp and also take down some structures. Even though they lost the first Garden Terror, we see that they're pretty much even, and with even a slight advantage since bottom fort about a quarter down, and they still have a almost full health fort on their side. Yes, Hoku. The buildings do come back in the next game. Unfortunately, it doesn't help you. But even with that, they still have top bruiser camp pushing, so Dehaka is going to have to go deal with that.
It won't be long now.
Definitely don't want to leave that up. We do see Hogger moving over to take their own siege camp. And I don't think I've seen Dehaka use Dig. Trying to think of a sequence, maybe down at the bottom. Guess the joy of having a global, being able to use that to join team fights. Also very good map for Dehaka, lots of bushes, able to take different angles, trying to engage. We do see CCS zoning out. Lunara looks like they're going to be able to channel without much of a contest from Cats. We do see Dehaka remaining top. With that, we do see a rotation from Cats to the top, likely trying to level it out. Looks like this will likely Bruiser Camp take bottom fort. And Cats will do it the old-fashioned way. But careful, we do have CCS sort of catching up, but we do see have a stun on that Hogger, very good tongue, and able to take advantage of that. And once you get that Dehaka stun, you have lots of follow-up for that and lots of firepower. It's all about landing that first stun, and you'll be able to do very good follow-up, and most of your squishies are practically dead. As far as XP, we do see them being rather even. We do have 2-to-1 advantage on the channels, though, with the next objective going to be in the lower right. Looks like Cat's trying to get in position for a potential engage. Obviously, with Cocoon, you're able to make it a 4v5, at least momentarily. You see Dahaka moving up on... Oh, Dahaka, be careful. We do have the sun land on that Dahaka, able to dig away with the upgraded dig. Able to get away, but...
There it is.
That Lunara, that pesky Lunara. It looked like CCS invested a bit in trying to get at the Dahaka, and with that, we're sort of out of place, not able to contest the bottom right channel. We do have Cats moving in position to take their bottom siege. Looks like CCS would do the same, take their own siege in the middle. Now we have an even 2-2. Both teams rather close. CCS with a slight lead. We do have the next objective on the top left of the map. Cats taking their own cruiser camp, as well as their siege. A favorable position for CCS, and this is where we get in those spots where this next objective can potentially be threatening to the core. A blind tongue by Dahaka does land on the Murden, but able to get away. We do have Dahaka having to dig and use Essence. Cat's in a rather interesting position where they're kind of split, being zoned out. Dahaka does not have dig available. They were able to channel the objective and take Dahaka down at the same time. We do have nice sleep. However, Cat's in a very difficult position. Decker trying to heal himself as much as possible. Able to go down, but Augur pays the price. 2 for the side of Cats on my keyboard, down, and one Augur, but for the most part, you have the Nazebo and the Lunara up. You have those, the heroes you want up for this siege. Although, with no healer, a little bit more challenging. Looks like CCS will try to focus on the bottom. They did get the level 20s. We do have Rewind for Murden, Secret Stash, Intensifying Toxin, Vow Infection, which was already completed, and Mixing Fire for Lucio. We do have Gargantuan being dropped on the bottom keep. It's being melted rather quickly. Although those members of CCS do have to be available. We have a new engaging. We did have 20s online as well for Cats. Dahaka able to dig from the back. However, taking a lot of damage, had to dig. Murden, Bean, Cocoon, Nazebo with 50 health does go down. Augur's back, but Anub able to use the follow-up to take down Lunara, and Murden trying to kite around, and I guess check it out what's happening to Murden. Missed the action on the Lucio, who also went down. We do have Cats chasing down the Murden, but the dwarf, not the easiest to kill with a lot of mobility, able to leap over the wall, but will be... And this is where you have to question, do you just die? Or you lead him on the Benny Hill music chasing Murden? It just finally goes down, but a really big stagger, and we do see Augur go down as well. And then with that, as I was just saying, you gotta be careful because that's a really big stagger now. 2 members on the sides of CCS out for about 50 seconds, with Lunara and Nazebo coming back. However, Cat's now likely going to get the next objective uncontested. We did have Forfight Quiver for Vala, Apex Predator, Bottomless Flask, Temporal Flux, and Rewind for a noob. Lunara being cocooned, that is not good. I imagine Lucio's gonna have to try to cleanse that if possible. Able to leap away, and there's that laugh of nightmares. Lucio getting chunked, but able to get away. Augur and Murden, 10 seconds out, but with that, Dehaka is gonna be able to channel the objective. Although, taking quite a bit of damage from... That's what they call little flowers. We do have CCS trying to contest that siege that's being taken by Cats. However, now... Cats, with the potential to take all the forts, although within a Zebo that's completely stacked, a task that's a little bit more challenging. Although, if Cats is able to secure 1 or 2 members on the side of DCS, they might be able to improve their position here. We do have a stun on Hawker. Noob diving in. Hawker able to use spin to get away. We do have bottom and middle force down. A stun on Hogger. However, the core anomaly of Garden is one of the most rage-inducing of all the core anomalies, being polymorphed. We do see Hogger being cocooned out. Murden goes down. And with that, Nazebo getting low, but able to survive. All of the forts for CCS are down. If you are Cats having to make a decision, do you continue with the siege? Try to look for another pick, or do you back off and try to play the map? You do have Dehaka by themselves, able to use Dig to get away. We have CCS continued. Lunara being dove on by a noob, but able to get away with the bottomless flasks. Cats having quite a bit of sustain, however, opting to back off. Stacks is 222 on the Zebo. So fully stacked, and again, Nazebo's one of those heroes that does not get weaker as the game goes on. Lucio trying to get some soak on the top lane to relieve the pressure, while the rest of the team on the bottom. We do have the next objective on the top right, but not necessarily of high priority. If you are CCS, you're looking to try to control and clean up your lanes, relieve some pressure. Dehaka moving over to the top, although not with your team, rather risky. We do see DCS showing mid, and something you always have to be mindful of. With a Lucio, a team can rotate a lot faster than you usually are used to. But able to secure it. We do have a Bruiser and a Siege on the top lane, while Dehaka doing some cleanup work on the bottom. It looks like Lunara is going to try to snipe that. Very ambitious. It looks like they picked that up. But if you're Lunara, you have to be careful. You get cocooned and you can go down rather quickly. Let's see if they're able to get that. Are they able to pick it up? Can you able to dive? Oh, in a split second. Very scary. We do see teams doing a minor scuffle. Oh, we do have Lunara being cocooned. Hogger sending a noob for a little bit. We do have Vala in danger, being in a zombie wall, able to back off and collect some of those pots. And yes, King Andrew, very good value here, especially against an Azebo. For many of the DPS, one of those pot is practically a an ancestral healing, right? It's actually amazing. However, the limitation is that you have to walk to them. And do take some time to reset. All the while, we did have Cat secure too, so now definitely in a position where CCS has to contest. Even with Nazebo trying to defend against a level 23 minute, I should say, Garden Terrors with no forts is a big task. So Dahaka trying to look around for a flank potentially. Although it does show, that's something that I would say maybe one of... They know you're there, Dahaka. But CCS posturing on the bottom. We do have Dahaka moving over. Gets stunned out. They do go on the Ming, and Ming gets isolated and is out. And speaking of isolation on Hogger, able to get away though, gets cleansed. And the rest of CCS going down a little bit, but we do now have catapults, although I don't think it's going to be big concern, although we do have the team CCS backing. Unfortunately, due to the pressure, not able to take full advantage. With 5 members up in Nazebo and Lunara, if they didn't have core pressure, they definitely could have potentially marched onto core, at least to bottom. But it looks like they will take advantage of this. Try to look to take a structure top. Nazebo with Gargantuan pretty soon. Looks like probably won't need it. It will be gone. We do have a new cocooning Nazebo. Nazebo. Lucio does go down. They engage on Nazebo. And Nazebo now going down as Koala might be sacrificed. And we do have catapults on core though. Looks like they should be okay. But still. Went from a position of advantage. But again, with their lanes being pushed back and having to deal with pressure on core, 33%. However, the next objective came out and Cats was able to get it, and CCS is not only without their healer, but also without Lucio. Sorry, Lucio. Their healer Lucio without Nazebo. We got the engage on Murden. Murden now being stunned and then tongued by Dahaka. Isolation does land on Hogger, and Hogger likely going to be going down. And with that, it looks like game 1. We do have the GGs coming out. We'll be going over to the sides of Cats. And then GG. Looking over at the stats, overall in the kill count, we do see a 10 to 18 advantage on the side of Cats, and I think initially it was CCS that did have an advantage. As far as damage, we do see Vala coming out 11-1. I think, as Andrew mentioned, Vala also gets strong, right? And continue to get strong. Able to put out quite a bit of damage as well as Lei Ming. And so early on, CCS is able to take advantage of their wave clear to get some structure damage. However, Cat's able to secure quite a bit of objectives at the end, and it eventually got overwhelmed by the pressure of catapults and the lane pressure. Looking at healing, pretty similar. Deckard, obviously, I think Lucio was at the top or ahead of Deckard early on, and then eventually Deckard with the bottomless able to take over. XP, not surprising. Nazebo, top. followed by Dehaka and Hogger. Give you a chance to check out the talents, look at them, and check them out. But overall, I initially gave the early advantage to, at least in draft, to CCS. I did like the draft with Hogger. However, Cat's able to, with their engage, some very good tongues being landed by Dehaka. And then obviously with the follow-up of Anub, and then the root of Deckard, we're able to secure quite a few kills at various objectives. So with that, we need to see if there's any decision as far as where we're going to be going next. Oops, but it should have been in general chat. God, get away. So no word from either team yet on where we're going to be going next. But again, showing you where the map picks were. Again, Braxis and Alterac Pass were banned out by CCS. Sky Temple and Dragonshire were banned out by Cats. That leaves us with Battlefield of Eternity, Dragonshire. We just played on Guardian of Terror. Infernal Shrines, Volskaya as the choices of maps available. Just take a second to update my information. We do have, obviously, Cats taking game 1. All right, looks like there's a lobby that has been set up, and it looks like we're going to Volskaya. And it looks like CCS took first pick, and this was selected by Cats. For the most part, in conversations with a lot of people of NGS, what I've heard is a lot of people also don't like Volskaya. Volskaya being a map that early on, at least, the objective has very little value, it seems. If you look at different games, at different regions, etc., at times, many teams have opted to kind of give away the first objective and counter push against it. And more recently, when I say recent, obviously a couple of years, they did try to buff the objective. But even then, one of the weaker ones. Yeah, Volskaya, worst map. It's a good, interesting idea. Yeah, but no nukes, no warhead junction. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your opinion of that. So I imagine now with first pick, CCS would now be able to either be able to take that Vala or either ban it. Vala obviously in those team fights, was able to put out quite a bit of damage, secure many of those kills. Quite a few times Murden was taken down. Looks like we're waiting for one of the members of Cats on my keyboard to connect, and looks like they're there. And I was going to double check if they selected the correct map. Sometimes you do select the other map, right? Which is the ARAM. And I've been in situations where that was also accidentally selected a couple times, even though it has a different name. I think if you're looking at just the image or thinking about it, you would be selecting it. But we're on the correct Volskaya, unfortunately. Although it would be okay with the ARAM map. Likely means that the match goes faster. That's one thing about Volskaya. For the most part, if you look at timings, like it's another map that tends to go all the way to 20. Obviously, when you look at that information, you can use it to make or help you make decisions as far as heroes that you choose. You want to choose heroes that scale late game. You want to go to a map or a map that likely goes to level 20. If you choose a map that tends to end on the shorter side or before 20, you likely don't want a hero that scales super late because they may never see it. The conveyor map, ARAM, is the worst map. I mean, sort of. I like the conveyor. It's fun to go around the loop, depending on what hero you're playing in ARAM. Oh, I think they're checking it ready. And just set up a little notifier. 20. Oh, well, yeah, yeah, you want maps. When I say to 20, it's for the talent tier, right? Obviously. Yeah, some of these go up to, level 25. But if you have a hero that's late game, that's good. However, if you have a hero that's weaker early game and you're playing on a map that typically doesn't get to 20, the map, there's, like Braxis. Braxis is a map that many times does not get to 20. Battlefield of Eternity is another one that can end earlier than 20. Then you don't want a hero that scales super late, because again, you may not see it. But obviously there are exceptions. I've been in 30-minute Battlefield of Eternities and I think there was one time where I was looking at 28-minute Braxis, and yeah. Yeah, and so like as mentioned earlier, Volskaya, especially in this map, teams will purposely give away the first objective so that for heroes like Zul'jin can stack off it, right? Since the objective's so weak, especially early. If you have a solid hero who can siege on their own, you just have the Zul'jin stack on the objective. It looks like we are about to get started, and people connected, figuring out the hat situation. Let them know that I'm ready, so hopefully they're not waiting on me. It doesn't look like it. Maybe we see Vikings. I mean, you could. I obviously would opt to say that you likely don't see Vikings here, but in HOTS, I've seen enough that you never discount anything. Obviously, you would like a larger map so Vikings get more value, but maybe you have a super secret one-lane Viking player. And with that, we do see game 2 getting on the way. We do have, as we said before, this time CCS being first pick. Oh, I misspoke. I guess initially it was set up that way. We do have Cats being on first pick. Or did they mess up the draft order again? Because that's what happened the first match where we had to restart. It looks like initially I thought it was CCS that had first pick, but it's not. And oh, it looked like they missed their ban. But we do have likely a very clutch, or maybe planned, Rhaegar ban again. I believe that's what they banned the first match. Vala, as I mentioned earlier, and either if you're not going to pick it, you're going to ban it, and that Vala was doing quite a bit of work that last match. Makes sense that CCS does not want to deal with that, especially on a map where the Vala can stack rather easily on the objective if needed. On the side of Cats, I imagine there wasn't any particular hero that I would think was too troublesome. The Lunara was able to get some value. So was Azebo. I said it's going to be maybe likely Hogger. Although Hogger, with a lot of camp take, you do have the turrets at the heel, the top camp, plenty of walls to bounce around in. The Cat said no. And again, it's Stukov. Again, any map where the opposing team has a control point and is very predictable where they're going to be at is a very good map for Stukov, although many would argue that every map is good for Stukov. But again, those that you are able to easily predict where the enemies are going to be at, Stukov able to get a little more advantage. We do see Cats picking up Johanna. And as Poe had mentioned, first picking Cats needs to be murky for the fish. Yes, I agree. But you always first pick murky because then you bait the Zeratul, you bait the Butcher, right? With that, we have next two, and we have Junkrat. Something I didn't mention before. Again, if you look throughout the league, Junkrat is a hero that's also highly contested, either picked or banned, and we actually didn't see that happen at all in the first match. But we do have Junkrat and Sonya, another pretty solid offlaner. A lot of engage potential, something that Hogger didn't quite have, right? Although with Hortipole does have that. We do have Li Ming and Anduin being picked up on the side of Cats. I always have to remember to say Cats on my keyboard, but for the sake of announcement, of calling out plays and such, I'm just going to keep it to Cats. As it was a U-Po that said earlier, Cat. Right? So you had a combination phrase for both the teams. Can't pick Cats or something. We do have Greymane being banned out on the side of CCS. Although this time around now, with Johanna and Anduin, you don't have a noob. The noob was actually very good in this follow-up to the Hakatungs. Or as an engage, obviously with Cocoon, also provided a lot of temporary 4v5s, or being able to isolate somebody for a follow-up. We do have a Stitches ban. Again, another hero that, if you're able to protect where your enemies are at, can get more value. Myself being someone who likes playing Stitches on this particular map. We do see Taronda, and Nazeebo being picked again. Nazeebo obviously able to do quite a bit of work. We do then have initially a switching. Last time we did have, I believe it was Dr. Evil on Nazeebo, Osprey, and Lenara. And a spicy pick of Tracer goes, selecting Tracer. This is known that Overwatch heroes are OP on Overwatch maps. And then, very interesting, we have a Mei. So I imagine main tank Mei with Johanna offlane, obviously with the Johanna, you know, having a slightly better wave clear, but. And on the side of CCS, going with a, you would argue, double mage. Obviously, Junkrat can be in that pseudo position, but it obviously has a lot of spell magic damage. And lastly, with a variant, likely going to be a taunt variant, so we're going to have that situation where you taunt, you follow up with the Tyrande, and then use zombie wall, and initially maybe not too bad, but as the game goes on, will hurt more and more. So with that, we'll move on to game 2 on Volskaya, to see you on the flip side. All right, we're back, and on Volskaya Foundry. On the side of CCS, we have Valkamar on Varian, Osprey on Nazeebo, Dr. Evil on Junkrat, and Whitson on Tyrande, and Zephy on Sonya. On the side of Cats, on my keyboard, we have Ghost on the Tracer, PJ Red on Johanna, IT Cowboy on Mei, Koala on Ming, and Apple on Anduin. And I guess I just realized this. You have a Mei and a Johanna. There's the potential of Tyrande being blinded constantly. Especially if Mei takes that upgrade to have 2 of the ice balls that will blind. This time around, we do see Nazeebo go with the Widowmaker, so going that spider build. We did see Johanna take the double, and Tracer able to get on Sonya. Something that will be a challenge, at least before the upgrade of bombs and taunt. That Tracer should be a menace. We do have the team rotating on Nazeebo, able to recognize the rotation, but at this point likely to be able to get away. Although the side FCCs will have to be mindful of those rotations. We do have Varian putting some pressure on Tracer, but able to blink away. We do have... Uh-oh. You gotta be careful. I've seen Rainers die to this. You gotta be careful with that camp. We do see both teams picking up their turrets, their fortification camp. We have level 4s, and Varian is finally a real tank. Johanna able to expose that Varian in the bush. And if you're on the side of cats on a keyboard, you should assume that no bush is safe and that there's a Varian there. Just like game 1, we do see CCS trying to put out some damage on structures and able to do so again with a Nazebo. And that worked well early on for CCS early in the Garden of Terror match. However, Cat's able to catch up and win the objective, but this time around the objective is not as strong as I mentioned, especially early on. You can argue even late game. This is definitely a map that can go to 25-30 minutes. And oh, missed the kill on the Sonya. And again, Sonya not having a great engage without leap early on. Potentially if you land your stun, but even with that, your spear I should say. We do have the early channel lead as far as the objective and midpoint going to the side of Cats. Varian trying to get some soak, and May goes down. Looks like May was on the far side, likely got booped over, and something that Cats will have to be aware of, their positioning, because especially when there's walls and towers and such, they can be booped over. And although the first initial objective goes to Cats, very much wet noodle. Although uncontested, can do quite a bit of damage, but although it did get buffed. And what's scary is that even so, before the buff, this thing was practically useless. I remember, like, what is it? Even at level, 25-minute protector would be useless. Now has a little more teeth. This is a very interesting matchup of May versus the Sonya. Imagine Sonya is able to do just fine in that. We do see CCS with the slight level lead advantage. Just like we saw in game 1, the rotations being really good on point, and then with their siege of Nazebo, able to get some early structures, and there you go. Even with the first objective, CCS still has that lead and able to get Tense first online. We right away have an instant luck of Leap from Sonya. We don't see Shield Wall from Varian. We have Warbringer. Followed with Riptire, and it's a Ravenous Ghost. Makes sense. We do have spiders. We have complete spider build from Nazebo, and then Starfall. We do see Iron Scan being popped on the side of Johanna, potentially trying to avoid that taunt from Varian. We have CCS taking their second turret, so they didn't use their first one, and so we do see that at times, which is another maybe potential argument, is that you give up the first objective, you put damage on structures, and you maintain or keep up with the structure XP lead, and we do see again May go down and drops their turret and first, so now we have every member of CCS with a item except Osprey. You can see Riptire being used on the top. Goes putting some pressure on Junkrat, but having to be careful back for the fountain. Lots of action going on. CCS now moving towards the middle, looking like they're potentially looking to catch that Tracer, and you want to be careful. With a taunt and a follow-up from Lunara and a spider, or lots of spiders from Nuzibo, Tracer, definitely an easy target for that. We do have the next objective at top. A lot of times you do see teams do the same. Give it up again, though the second objective is a little bit stronger.
It's time, hero.
If you've watched matches over the years, you've seen that teams opt to give up the second objective and push bottom. The bottom objective, which is the third one, tends to be where we see a little bit more strength with the objective. Many teams opt to give the first or second, and then trade out the bottom force to set up a push with the third objective. But it looks like both teams are opting just to keep up the soak. We do have level 13s online first for CCS, and they do have a level lead with Cats just getting 13. But we do see the taunt. Iron Scape being used. We do have a light bomb. And nice falling sword. And we did have Tans coming down. We have Miranda going down as well as Johanna, though. We did have to see the use of the heal. Leap by Sonya does secure the kill on Tracer. And we do have an avalanche. I think we'll be able to go through the tens of cats. We do have Spirit. And with that, CCS is going to be able to secure the top fort. And we did have, again, Quantum Spike, Light Bomb, Falling Sword, Disintegrate, and Avalanche. I would have liked to see the Ice Wall to then set up for a Light Bomb Falling Sword combo, but actually well done to execute that combo, but unfortunately for the side of Cats, weren't able to trade out. Not only the top and middle port, but now potentially taking the bottom end. So we can see teams are completely ignoring the objective. No objective. And at this point, CCS now with level 16s, meaning that Cats having to be careful. We do see them sieging into the bottom and likely being able to secure it. Junkrat uses Riptire, and then Leap is used to secure the kill on Mei. However, the counter engage by Cats. Ravenous Spirit's able to take down Tracer. And a 2 for 0, I should say, trade. We do have Taunt on the Anduin and goes down, and with that, bottom fort also down. And this is a place, if you're Cats, gotta be careful. Did I mention this map goes to 20? CC is now able to take down the bottom keep wall, and And Ming goes down to spiders that the Zebo is hurting. Ming and Tracer now down, as well as Mei. And dear Cats, this is where you had to kind of make a decision of stopping the bleeding. This whole time, CCS had the advantage as far as level 16. And now with that, able to use some of their items, the turret, to be able to secure the bottom keep, and that's such a huge advantage for CCS now. They can fall back, or maybe look for more. It looks like they're looking for more. Cat's not really having an answer for this siege and the damage, as well as being 3 levels down almost. And if you're Cats, you don't want to be chasing into them more. Maybe you do. You gotta maybe win a fight, because once they hit 20, it's gonna be back. I mean, nice zombie wall, and Varian was also low, but able to use the sustain to be able to survive that. And now CCS able to turn around within now seconds of level 20. Did I mention this is a map that goes to level 20 all the time? I guess I'm wrong. And we do see, looks like the core call went out, and with most members of Cats going down, and yes, it looks like that's going to be going down, and CCS putting on a clinic and corrected me on Volskaya, able to secure game number 2 on Volskaya in 14 minutes. Actually, I was right. Technically, it did get to level 20, at least for one of them, right? But we did see very good job by on the side of CCS, able to secure a game 2, and it looks like we're now obviously going to game 3. As far as the kills, completely on the side of CCS, 15-3. Nezebo this time, although maybe he doesn't show as much damage because the match didn't go that long, still had top damage, followed by Sonya. Although we did see Tracer and Li Ming having some damage, the key was the deaths. We did have only 3 on the side of CCS and 15 in favor of CCS. Tyrande able to put out healing as well as supporting the team with some damage. Not surprisingly, most of the XP experience on the side of CCS. And with that, we do have game 3. I used to say that maybe it was just my streamer luck. I a lot of times don't get to see game 3s. I've been unfortunately on the side of having a lot of games that only went 2 matches. So for myself, it's always a treat to have a game 3. But very good turnaround on the side of CCS, able to again even it out at 1-1. Here are the talents up for you. For the most part, nothing that it would say is out of the norm. I would have said the Avalanche did not really get as much value as potentially they could have. On the flip side, we did see Ravenous Spirit in combination with Riptire and Leap get a lot of value. Obviously with a variant. That's what happens when you do work in statistics. You say variance, you say variant, you say variant. Didn't go shield well, but was able to use Warbringer to engage and disengage. Although Cats did have a nice combo. They did pull out of it at least twice, the Falling Sword Light Bomb combo. Unfortunately, the level lead and soaking and siege power of CCS was a little bit too much. And we did see, yeah, pretty much what the second objective did not get channeled at all. So with that, let's head back out to the map select and update our information. So Volsky was picked by CCS. Did you take it this time, even out the score 1-1? So that'll be interesting to see. Where we're going to be heading off for game 3. So at this point, we have Battlefield, Curse to Hollow, Dragonshire, Infernal Shrines, Sky Temple, Tomb, and Towers that are still available. Obviously, for selfish reasons, I would like to see a Towers. Always a very fun map for a game 3. Lots of potential for swinging of the match. And it looks like we are going to be going to Infernal Shrines. And so, something to note, banning out Vala was very good for CCS. Although I did like initially the pick of Tracer. We see Tracer having some success a lot on this map at Volskaya. As we mentioned before, CCS was able to take advantage of their siege to take early structures, get early lead. And at some point, CCS had a 3-level lead. And that's a little bit too much for a team. Now I imagine, will cats now ban in the Zebo? It looks like Infernal Shrines was picked by CCS. We have teams confirming that all the details are right. And now we'll be moving on to game number 3 on Infernal Shrines. We do have cats again with first pick, first ban, and I imagine Izebo is likely going to be a ban, although not as impactful in game 1, was very impactful in game 2. Although Junkrat was also a candidate. The traps was able to get a few kills on the Mei, I believe, with the boops. You do see Junkrat being banned out quite a bit, or picked, as I mentioned before, league-wide. And we see a Rhaegar ban again. Trying to look up at the stats. And yeah, as I mentioned before, Nazebo, I think, compared to previous seasons, has seen quite a bit of play based on data from Stats of the Storm, for those of you who keep up with that. Nezebo, before this match, or at least as of this morning, the database hasn't been updated, has been played quite a 26 games. Is that correct? Do I have the wrong data? Nezebo has been played 26 times already this season. We're barely in game 3, 4, including flex message and such. So that's quite a bit of times already. So Nezebo's getting quite a bit of love with a 73% win rate. And well, we're not going to be seeing Nezebo. As I mentioned, wouldn't be surprising if they banned out Nezebo and Nezebo's out. Although that means Murky is open. We do see Stukov being banned out again by CCS. And then Vala. So using their strategy of taking away Vala from Cats. So we see now 2 heroes that were rather impactful. Vala in game 1, Nezebo game 2 being banned out, along with a meta healer. With that, we do have now Cats with the first pick, and it goes to Hogger. Obviously, a very good map for Hogger. If you're a Hogger player, lots of balls to bounce off, an objective where you can, if you do it correctly and you didn't skip geometry class or trigonometry, you can spin forever on the objective. We do have Lunara making another appearance along with Joe. But Hogger, along with any other hero where you're able to clear out the minions from the objective at the same time as doing damage to the enemy team, have a lot of value. We do have Lucio and Sonya. So it looks like we're going to be having, at least for the time being, a no tank double bruiser. Yeah, and surprisingly, they let Hogger through. And unlike Volskaya Foundry, this is a map where you can't really ignore the objective, although you can argue that early on, the objective is not as strong. But in particular, if you get a Frozen Punisher, especially in the first objective, I have seen Frozen Punishers, they're the first ones, go all the way to the keep and taking him, or at least go to the wall, provided that then an enemy team doesn't have amazing siege or wave clear, and if your team has great siege or wave clear and can support that Punisher, can do quite a bit of work. We do have the Greymane again being banned out, as well as Anduin. Looking like Cats and CCS taking turns taking heroes from each other. We do have Whitson on Tyranno as of now. And then Blaze, another hero that we haven't talked about, that also is quite contested league-wide. Although Blaze having a little bit lower, at least compared to what I've seen. I'm pretty sure it gets either picked or banned out quite often. And now we have a Gazlo, so as I mentioned before, at the time being a double bruiser with no tank, but now confirmed triple bruiser with no tank, and along with a Sylvanas. Sylvanas is a very good hero on this particular map. As I mentioned before, if you have a Frozen Punisher and if you have a Sylvanas, you can do quite a bit of work. Sylvanas being able to shut down structures, providing great value for pushing. Along with that, we do have then Mephisto coming out. Mephisto, I think one of those, again, has great potential because of the different places that Mephisto can line themselves up to do damage with one of the better ultimates with Durance and the upgraded version, which is pretty much an entomb with the silence and a root. Big fan of Mephisto. So with that, we'll see you in game 3. All right. And now for a game 3. As I mentioned before, if you are being streamed by me, fortunately or unfortunately, that's a treat. So this time, I'll start with cats, since I mentioned when I was the side of CCS. We do have cats on my keyboard with Koala on Sonya, Ghost on the Hogger, PJ Red on Sonya, IT Cowboy on the Goblin, Gaslow, Apple on Lucio. On the side of CCS, we do have Valkymer on Johanna, Dr. Evil on Mephisto, Osprey on Lunara, Whitson on Tyrande, and Devi on Blaze. I was trying to look at some of the stats as I mentioned before, before yesterday, I should say. We did have, as far as popularity, meaning either banned or picked, and this is again league-wide. So again, Division E or D, C, B, A, so on. Hogger and Blaze picked or banned 60% of the time for Hogger and 55% of the time for Blaze. And Johanna leading the way with a 92.8 popularity, either banned or picked. Then we have Brightwing at 69, and then Vala and Anduin. So we're seeing a lot of that continued pattern that we see league-wide as far as heroes that are banned or picked. Although, to note, we didn't have a Junkrat ban or pick this time. You see Junkrat also being picked here. Able to poke out the objective from far away. We have Hogger spinning away, able to get. I was gonna say Ghost. You gotta do the spin this way. And then you're able to do the infinite spin there. I think I guess I didn't note last time, at least this time now, with Osprey on Lunara, the Wisp and the Owl able to get quite a bit of vision. Will be useful, especially if Mephisto goes Durance, which I highly expect Mephisto gonna go Durance, a Patriot. Been a very amazing ult. We do have Hogger now doing the top objective. Not the best one to do. You usually want to do this corner to this corner. Oh, while I was busy criticizing the Hogger geometry, we do have Gaza go down. And I think this is now the third time CC is able to secure early kills, and so something it is to be mindful of is those kills, although not as valuable early on, do provide XP. With the first of the shrines being at the top, CCS already in position, able to get already 15. We have Hogger trying to do the spin, able to get it, and looks it was slightly off. Was able to get a few good spins. However, Zephy getting real low. This time around, CCS not ignoring the objective. However, they are falling low. Johanna and Lunara going down, with Johanna going down. Lunara. With so much chaos from the Hogger, the Sonya. Oh, nice stun. And looks like Zephy will now be going down. And quite a different scenario where we see now Cats being the aggressors, where we saw in game 2 CCS being able to get the lead and then able to kind of impose that lead. But it's like King James, or King Andrew, just actually King James. Andrew, yeah, it's having Sonya and Hogger. Lots of clearing and damage going out, and now as we see, obviously we see Sonya getting great value, and then as well as Sylvanas being able to turn off structures and get value. Not a frozen Punisher, but still rather solid. Usually on this map, if you're able to get a fort with the first Punisher, that's very much amazing, but this tends to be a little bit more of the standard. Get at least half of it. We did see CCS able to get their siege camp. We do see a fight coming up, and Tyrande going down. And this is, again, now an issue that, at least until level 20, there isn't much besides Blaze that can keep Sonya from spinning. Also on the side of, I was gonna say, unfortunately, Gaslo does go down. We do have Sonya going with the slam build, Hogger going your traditional Seeing Red trait build. And now, Cats with a hero that has the pushing power with Sylvanas, able to get value. Get those structures early, and now we have level 10s online for Cats. However, disengaging, at least for momentarily. We do have Sonya top lane, Blaze in the middle. We do have Hortipult, Leap, Bravo Bomb, High Five, and Wailing Arrow. So that potential to be very scary if Cats is able to engage on CCS, silence them, and then follow up with a leap. And we have the leap, guys slash leap, boop. But we do have level 10s online being picked up by CCS. Mephisto able to get away. We do have Falling Sword, as we saw. Durance. That Falling Sword actually got quite a bit of value. As well as Bunker, Leaping Strike, and Starfall. We do have Hogger diving in the backline, able to get away. Mephisto going down. It looks like IT Cowboy likely going to be the trade here. And we do see that 1-for-1. As far as kills, 5-3 in favor of Cats this time. But we get to see now the power of that triple bruiser lineup. We do see a potential invade. Sonya has to be careful. Likely having to step away, is stunned. Slowed, but able to get away. We do have Sylvanas come over, but not in a great position. However, reinforcements come through. Hogger with the leap and the Hortipult. Bunker comes out, however, able to save momentarily at least. We have Tyrande going down. The Durance landing. Lots of buttons being pressed, however, favoring Cats. Able to trade out 2-for-1. The members of CCS very low, able to save themselves at least momentarily. However, Mephisto being caught out. That's one problem though. Although Mephisto can do damage from safety, if you're caught out, you have a Lucio, you have a Sonya, you have a Hogger, you'll have a Sylvanas, lots of mobility, you're not getting away. You don't want to be in a position where you do that. We have camps being taken by cats, Hogger doing Hogger things. All the while, you have Sonya able to take the objective on their own. And Sylvanas able to use trait to push. Already with 14 secured on the shrine. We see very good as far as what they're doing. Taking the objective, taking camps, soaking. And with a slight lead, members of Cats taking a little bit of a step back to regroup. But with that, we'll be having quite a bit of different pushing in different lanes that CCS will have to be mindful of. However, they can potentially secure this objective before Cats get there. But however, we have all the teams coming together. All ultimates are up. We do have leap on the Mephisto. We do have right away the cleanse by the Joe. Gravel bomb coming out. Starfall, Durance. So much chaos. And in all that, no one goes down. So very good job on both teams, able to sustain themselves through all that damage. However, teams now on the side of Cats are getting low. Blaze using Bunker with that. CCS is able to secure the second Punisher, which is an Arcane, not a Frozen. And we did see that middle camp then able to take the middle fort. However, now the second Punisher being slightly stronger, it looks like this likely will be a top fort going down. We do see Hogger move down to the bottom lane to be able to get some soak. We do see top fort going down, able to help out with some of the pressure, at least in top lane. Although Hogger, gotta be careful, Hogger. If we have the mini map upgrade, you would have seen the enemy team rotating through mid, and Hogger able to get away. Did have Hortipult out, so at worst case, and oh no, didn't have Hortipult out, so actually could have been pretty bad if wasn't able to rotate out safely. As far as structures, we do see a lead when it comes to structures in favor of Cats. CCS having, sorry, it's even. CCS and Cats both having 2 forts, although one is slightly down, which means Cats have a slight advantage. We did see some damage go out to the towers of the top keep of Cats, however. Again, we see a situation where Cats is about to be now 16. So if you're CCS, you want to be careful, but if you want to take a fight, right now is a time you may potentially want to do that. Although with Johanna being top, they did clear out the camp. Just needs to be capped, likely waiting for the next objective to come through to cap it. All the while we do see Cats take their own siege. And again, as I mentioned before, in kind of a reversal of game 2 now, Cats in a very strong position to be able to impose their will. And 16s are online. With that, CCS is going to have to be very careful now. Although, with the Wisp and Tyrande able to get much vision, we do see the top Bruiser camp finally being capped. Now, with that, we do see as well Cats using the Banshee Queen's trait to secure the bottom fort, then able to take the bottom siege camp. We do have the Bruiser though pushing on top for the side of CCS, so likely someone from Cats on my keyboard will have to be careful to go back. We do see Lucio using Speed Boost to try to catch up potentially to Blaze, but able to use their dodgeball skills to evade or avoid cats. And we do have Gazlo taking care of that top camp. And though a big win for CCS, able to hold out until level 16s of their own. CCS does see Gazlo on top lane, so knows that they have the numbers advantage. And so again, if you're cats though, you want to be able to set yourself up. You want having Gazlo to come down and rather risky because they do have vision. The Wisp finally going down. CCS now posturing themselves back. Looked like Hogger was trying to get into the backline, able to start spinning, but gets away slightly. We do have 19 of the Shrine minions secured, 20 now for CCS. Hogger does leap in. We have a grab a bomb. Falling Sword able to help out, but too late. Luminara does go down. We do see the chase happening on Wits End, although Cowboy having to be careful. Members being slightly low, but able to secure. We do have Hogger able to spin and secure that objective. And there we have it, the third Punisher being a frozen Punisher. Finally, we get what everybody was asking for. Frozen Punisher does coming out. See how much value cats on my keyboard are able to get. Frozen Jumper Punisher jumps. Johanna able to use Unstoppable to get away. Now we do see Sylvanas using Trait in order to turn off the keep, and likely this is going down. Punisher still relatively healthy. We do have Grab Bomb being used. Falling Sword also used to help cleanse. Very good on the part of Valkymer. Johanna able to use that Falling Sword to help negate a lot of the setup that cats have. However, we do have Johanna going down as well as Hogger. The Punisher doing some damage to the core, however, might not be enough as we do have a 1-for-1 trade. And another of the core anomalies that is very annoying is Inferno Shrines. As you saw, many of the members on the side of not CCS, on cats being frozen. So potentially dangerous if you get rooted and the opposing team has quite a bit of damage. You might see yourself with a timer. Although now, again, a reversal. Game 2 now with cats able to secure their first keep, however, falls back. Now CC is going to have to deal with a constant pressure from that bottom lane with catapults. Obviously with both forts and keep up on the bottom lane for cats, meaning that CCS is going to be constantly getting those catapults. And we're nearing now the point where they start hurting. We do have 20s online for cats. We have no control, of course. We wouldn't have it any other way. Ignore pain. Bomb toss. So a very good and annoying zoning tool depending on if it's for you or against you. As well as Mixing Fire and Deafening Blast. CCS just a couple, I would say maybe a minute or so, a little bit away from level 20s, having to kind of just bite the bullet, try to limit the damage done, but not die. We do have Johanna go in. And those double bombs, or double bombs after the initial bomb from Gazlo will be rather annoying. And so, unlike game 2, we do have now both teams at level 20. We do see Heaven's Fury intensifying toxin, ice blade arrows, upgraded bunker for blaze, and mimic. So we're not seeing silence endurance. I myself would really have had considered that, especially with vision. You're able to kind of provide that, although it can be hard without the setup of Johanna with Blessed Shield. But landing, especially in a team that has bruisers, right, 3 of them, have many people close together, potentially to, you know, can get at least 2 or 3 members on the side of cats with a silence. It would be very useful, but we're going with Mimic on the side of CCS with Mephisto. Now moving up for the top objective, we do see CCS getting in position, but if you are cats, you know that that bottom pressure is there. You don't necessarily have to force the issue. We do see, although the damage coming out, endurance does come out, and I believe Sonya was cleansed, correct? Did it have the animation that it landed? We still have all except Durian's out. We have Grab a Bomb miss. We didn't see Leap from Sonya. We do have now Falling Star now with Leap. However, being cleansed and Bunker. Bunker providing huge value. Do we see Lucio going down? Although a few members of CCS able to get into the bunker, build out some damage, as well as the armor. Augur getting rather low. However, we do see now the core. If you're cats, you maybe want to gamble and see if you can keep them close and not allow them to back out. We do see Lunaro, though, able to get away. 3 catapults. Likely no damage. But if you're cats, you know that they're there. I mean, you have a couple heroes that have pretty good sustain. Haggard able to get the miss. You have no control being used. Able to get quite a few damage. You have Heaven's Fury now being used. And Haggard going down as well as Sonya. And now... Oh no. I say, oh yes. Savannah going down. And now with that... Quite a turn of the events with CCS able to use their damage throughput to secure kills, and now moving towards the top keep. And with the objective, we do have an Arcane Punisher, but with about 30 seconds left still on 4 members on the side of cats, looks like they're going to be able, for the most part, to take this down without much of a contest. Blaze did have to back up to clear out the catapults, and likely will be able to maybe join them. But now, still 5 seconds and 16 seconds left on 2 members on the side of cats, and CCS has the potential to be able to maybe secure a couple kills and finish with this Punisher. We do have Lucio being caught out and rooted just outside of the Nexus. We do have Leap on the Tyrande doing damage. No control being popped, but Haggard does go down. Now we do have damage on the core. The Frozen Punisher now doing damage. Chaos are trying their best in order to try to draw the Punisher to the other side. However, CCS able to pull it off, being down most of the match. However, with one very good interaction and team fight, CCS able to hold on for the win in game number 3. Mephisto able to put out quite a bit of damage. Along with Gaslow and even Tyrande flexing a bit of that damage output. A relatively close match as far as kills, 13-10 on the side of CCS, but more importantly, able to secure those towards the end. At healing, Lucio able to put out quite a bit, however, ultimately not enough during that last fight, and I believe it was Lucio, right, that was killed early on, so that kind of swayed some of the advantage potentially that the Cats had. Let me see if we can line up a message for a potential interview. So with that, we do have game number 3 being secured by CCS and the series. Try to message Falcomer. So when I have too many windows and screens open. I want to do that. I want to do a screen selector. Let's go map select. There you go. So very exciting series. Yeah, very exciting. Given the way the game was going, looked like CCS was on the brink of losing it. We did see some damage go out to the core. However, CCS was able to hold on and then make the most.
Hello, Dark Knight.
How's it going?
Much better now that we're not in game one.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say that quite a big of swings going on in this particular series. We had both teams doing really well, taking turns being very dominant.
Yeah, we got the 2 kills in game 1, Ming and Haka, in late game, and we should have just ran core through bot.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that. I kind of figured. I was like,
"Which is what we did in game 2." But yeah,
it's one of those things that in hindsight it's very clear, obviously, because I'm sure you've been in positions where it's gone the wrong way when you made that decision, and it's gone the right way, and so I know that's usually the burden of experience. It's like, well, this has worked and it hasn't worked. So,
but no, we had Lunara and Naz at level 20. We'd have burned through it. We should have just ran and let Zephy take care of our core.
Yeah.
But we took a camp and we took a different keep. And
yeah, and you were getting quite a good value early on, and that's something that I noted, that your XP lead, which was very substantial, at least it was about 2 levels early on, kind of evaporated eventually. Cat's able to kind of secure kills with their Vala and so on. And
yeah, we had some unlucky deaths, unfortunately, that let them get caught up for 10s. I think they actually got 10s right before us. And we unfortunately, one of those deaths made it so it was like, well, we have to give this seed and just let them have the terrors.
Yeah.
And their comp was so PvP focused. I mean, Vala played great. Ghost got a ton of structure damage as Vala too, but the early game they were so PvE focused, or PvP focused, excuse me, that giving up that 3rd seed kind of hurt. But we certainly clawed back in, but we just died too much in game 1.
Yeah.
And game 2, I think we actually only died 3 times, so we died very little.
Yeah.
There.
And you proved me wrong, as I was saying. Volskala is one of those maps that tends to be a little bit longer. Teams get to like level 20 something, and then you made me look like a dummy. And technically you got to level 20.
We looked like a dummy plenty of times tonight, so I promise no one's gonna be like, oh, the caster curse is what did it when we were playing this.
Well, I was about to say that typically, for some reason, when I cast, I usually get matches that only have 2 games. So it was a very good treat to actually have a match that goes to 3.
So C West is not the largest division,
Yeah.
but as of Sunday night, it had the most games played. So even though C East has more teams, C West appears to have a slightly closer balance with more games going to 3 games.
Yeah, more parity. So that's great to hear. But yeah, very good job. And I was just mentioning how, how weak the objective is on the Volskaya. The second one didn't even get channeled, and you were able to obviously go through bottom lane and secure the victory in about 14 minutes.
It's not bad. It's an extra health pool for sure. So I've seen teams use it to great success. We've had moments where we've used it to great success. But we just anytime we seem to take a fight and win, we had something that was faster value than the Triglav.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We just took that value.
Yeah.
And at the end it was, well, we're just gonna go through that keep and go.
Yeah.
I mean, the keep was already down. We actually had the mid wall down, so we went through mid a little bit to get there. So yeah, it was the Triglav can be great, but we had faster value in front of us, so we went for that.
Yeah, and it obviously ended up working out. And moving on to Game 3 in Infernal Shrines, obviously on the side of Cats, interesting having triple bruiser with no tank. Initially looked very well, and for the most part had quite a bit of control of the map. Able to secure on the flip side to Game 2, right? They were able to secure the first keep at the bottom lane and got a little bit damaged, but then obviously,
yeah, we wondered if they had continued pushing, if they would have taken the core also, but the comp very much was we need to get to level 20 for Heaven's Fury, because at that point we can maybe not completely neutralize their jump combo, but we would get pretty close.
Yeah,
and
I was about to say you did a very good job of being able to recognize that coming through, and for the most part able to negate a lot of that. I think there was only a couple times where, just because of the damage output, for example, Lunara would die, but for the most part you were pretty much on point on getting that out. And however, fortunately, I guess, or fortunately for you, unfortunately for Cats, they weren't able to set up their silence on you, because that's what I expect. I'm like, they're gonna silence Johanna, so you can't do that.
Yeah, I know I died at least once at the core. I imagine I probably died another time throughout the game, but I don't have that in front of me. But they did not win another team fight after 20. As soon as we got 20, we got in on that point. They tried to execute the combo again, and we were able to turn. Wits had big healing. I had incremental healing. We got lots of damage out of all 3 of Drevel, Os, and Zephy. And I mean, frankly, even Wits. My damage.
Well, actually, the damage.
Much,
no, Wits had the second most damage on your team and third in the match with 58,000. So
yeah,
the trade-off of damage and healing going out. But yeah, I was thinking that you would have gotten the silence with Durance, but I guess the damage output helped with that. But yeah, again, the tools you had at level 20 with bunker and everything helped kind of negate a lot of what they were trying to do. And so
the Durance upgrade isn't bad. Mimic is also really good.
Yeah.
But if the Lucio doesn't get hit by the initial silence, he just removes it from everybody.
And so, however, I mean, you just held on, and just like a lot of matches in HOTS goes, even if you're losing the whole match, if you can get that one, good team fight at level 20, you turn the game around, and you were able to do that, and obviously march to core and able to secure your victory, and obviously always a positive. I'm trying to pull up now the stats, because I know that the ones that they're showing on the website are not updated, I should say. But this should obviously now put you up, because it's now your 3rd game, correct? I believe.
It was our 3rd match, yes. This will put us tied for 2nd currently.
Yeah.
Though the other 2nd place team has one more game played than we do.
Yeah, so Seeb has 4. And obviously it's where that place where teams are kind of doing their flex matches and such. So
Yeah, tonight was actually a flex match for us. We have a bye this week on the schedule.
oh, nice.
And
what
so
a great day to do it, right? With the leap year. So now you get the privilege of saying you played on a leap year date for NGS and also get a victory.
yes.
Well, with that, again, thank you very much for the amazing matches and such. And I wanted to leave it off for you to any shout outs or anything you would like to say to close off the night.
Well, I'm going to start off with hi, Mom. And then just shout out to my team. It's not always easy to do a reverse sweep because it can feel pretty lonely and when everyone's kind of bummed out at the end of game 1. So great job coming together and working together. Again, just big heals, big damage. Loved it. Great work, everybody. Thank you, of course, to you for picking up our match somewhat late in the game and letting us have that privilege of being able to go and rewatch this and have fun with it. So thank you. And of course, big shout out to Cats on My Keyboard. They got a big victory yesterday. They definitely gave us a run for our money today. And so they're fantastic competitors that I'm sure it's going to keep Division C West pretty scary. So, but yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. And also, I also mentioned too in the draft, I guess the coin toss topic, just say, also thanks for having such a late match. It works out for my schedule. Something that I'm not able to do often is live cast because of my schedule. So I'm always happy to have these late matches.
Yeah, it's almost like there's teams in the West that should schedule Western time so that players from the West and casters from the West can all make it. But
who would have thought?
We got a lot of East in the CC West. Try to make everything early.
All right. Well, again, thanks a lot, and look forward to maybe casting more games in this division as well as yourself, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thanks, my friend.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.
And so with that concludes our evening as far as casting. I don't believe if there's anybody who's up still casting, so I won't be forwarding you to any other matches. As mentioned before, it was a little bit of a later match, ending around 11 p.m. on Pacific Standard Time, and obviously very late for East Coast people, so I don't think there's any more matches going on. But with that, thank you very much for joining me this evening, and again, look forward to casting a few more games throughout the season. And with that, thank you for joining, and I'll see you next time in the Nexus.